Hello everyone, welcome back to the lab and also welcome to a new episode of Road to World 2024 where I will be documenting my journey, my grind of myself competing in the competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG and eventually or hopefully make to the World Championship of 2024. That being said, let's start today's new episode. So the past weekend I went to Hartford, Connecticut for a regional. We had about 200 people registered and we played 8 rounds, cut to top 32 getting invites. My deck profile is already uploaded on the JNC Collectibles channel, my sponsor, which is my sponsor team. So give that a look if you want more quicker deck profile kind of condensed video instead of this kind of longer episode that I uploaded on my channel. So feel free to give that a look, a check. And then come back. We went to Hartford Regional. I played 8 rounds. I end with 6-1-1. Had 1 loss, 1 draw. And then I guess I will be showing my deck. So as usual, as in the past few episodes I've been covered, I am still playing Snake Eye. Pretty similar as the the list before, with Parallel Exceed. Standard Snake Eye lineup, with Parallel, with only 2 copies of Diabil, and then filled with minimum amount of engine requirement. And then as many non-engine hand traps as possible with 3 out. This main deck is pretty much the same since I will say mid-March that I've been grinding regional with and I've been doing well with. Yes, format has been a lot different. There has been a banless. There has been a new set, Legacy of Destruction release. But Snake Eye is relatively the same or similar. Therefore, I think the main deck, at least the hand traps in the main deck, the non-engines in the main deck, maintaining the same. Extra deck as well, because the Link Reaper is gone, now I'm playing Elmirage for Parallel and Anima for Link Away like Popular. And then 2 SP for the Banshee, IP, Charmer, Hida, Princess, Selling Apple, Axis, Stellantis, Raging Phoenix, Nightmare Phoenix. If you are interested in the Parallel combo, I did make a video a few episodes ago specifically talking about some of the basic Parallel Exceed combos, so you can give that a look. If you're, so I'm not gonna expand it too much. Then the side deck is, I guess, what could be my changes recently. It's just I added 2 copies of Ogre regarding Tenpai specifically. However, Ogre is a solid card in Mirror, hitting some specific interesting things. It's like a mini ball breaker, and also it works very well against Voiceless. Having more thing double down against Voiceless with Ghost Belt is never really a bad thing. That's why I've been playing. That's why I've been liking Ogre a lot. And then Golden Lord, in my opinion, is the best back row removal card against stun. And this definitely has won me a lot of stun matchup. Pretty much stun cannot handle Golden Lord sending a card every single turn. And I also made a episode specifically talking about this a few weeks ago. Draw play was relatively the last minute change this week. I didn't know what to play for the last 2 spots. It used to be Fernier, it could be any other thing, it could be really anything. Format's still relatively undefined. Therefore, I've been testing different things. This week, the last minute choice was like, I saw a lot more melodious discussion recently. And kind of not really that familiar with the deck, the archetype. So I decided to just run something more generic that covers it. Dark Cooler was the choice at the beginning because it just deals with everything relatively well. However, Dark Cooler was a bit more specific against Melodious and kind of useless against other things. But yeah, I mean, Voices and Melodious were both working, but Emira Dark Ruler is not as good. So I ended up just choosing Droplet as like, well, having more things in the mirror going second, it's never really a bad thing. So yeah. Then Triple Attack is going for additional going first card and more so a crossout target. And last but not least, the Featherstorm Feather Duster Fucho package. I made a specific episode about this one as well. Seems like I've talked about everything in the deck in different episodes in the past. So this week there really isn't much thing to change. However, I did notice a bit like problems of my deck, problems regarding my the parallel exceeds version of Snake Eye. Is that if I don't draw parallel because I don't have jet, I don't have other engine, I don't have the synchros, my ceiling is a bit lower. If I draw good with things like Ash parallel, I can end it on like Apple, IP, SP, Flamebird, and Princess in the Graveyard, which is enough. If my hand isn't good, like I draw weird hands such as a single Poplar, Poplar plus random thing, even Poplar Witch is like a weird hand. My ceiling usually ends up being a lot lower because I cannot get like all 4 link monsters circulating on my field or in the graveyard. Therefore, I have to choose like 2 or 3 out of the 4 and see what the last few cards in my hand can be. If they are strong hand trap, this game is still winnable. I could just build a small board, play resource game, use hand trap to stop my opponent. But if my hand was like weirdly things like, give you an example, some copy of Flamebird, some crossout that isn't really fitting with my opponent's strategy, and more deck copies of like similar cards, like double copy of Poplar, double copy of Witch kind of thing, with like maybe only a weak hand trap such as Mourner, or just like a single like Mourner specifically. These kind of hands, the combination of these kind of hands, usually just losing the game, even at full combo. I mean, I noticed this, and I told myself this is the trade-off I have to admit. Parallel Exceeds is better in terms of like play into things. I mean, playing into my opponent's hand traps, another thing. It has a bit like a very good resiliency. However, the ceiling is a bit lower in lists like this because Parallel Exceeds I have to be raw drawing it. Therefore, if I play my engine without Parallel, the Snake Eye portion of my deck isn't doing enough sometimes. So this is the problem I've been noticing. And since the regional on Saturday, I've been spending a few days so far really working on it. But at the current moment, I don't really see much ways to solve this. Kind of just have to pray I draw a solid hand most of the time. Like I definitely remember during the regional, I had a game where I played against a rogue deck. My hand wasn't as good, but it was possible to combo. I think I had like a single Ash plus. I had double Ash cross out 2 hand trap. It was my hand, so it was not bad. So I did my single Ash combo end on enough thing, and then I got blown out by call by into droplet into triple attack. Then got OTK'd. Wasn't that fun. My cross out couldn't really cross out anything that I mentioned there, and because it was a rogue deck, it was a non-mirror. I couldn't even cross out any engine pieces either. So this cross out just been sitting in the back row dead the entire game, and I wasn't really a fan of it. And then there's another mirror match, which my hand was also weird. It was like Poplar plus one of the Poplar target, probably the Temple, and the Flamebird with a weak hand trap like Mourner. And I forgot what the last card is. Might be a duplicate combo piece or something. It's just like the ending board isn't. It is a lot if my opponent's hand is like mid or worse. But when my opponent hand was average or above, it feels like suddenly not enough. And I end was being outgrinded in that game one mirror match. I realized I couldn't win at some point, but I just didn't scoop. I ended was just burning. I ended was didn't scoop game one until like 4 minutes left on the clock. Scoop and planned for a draw by winning in time game two. So that's my loss and draw at the Hartford Regional. And that also leading to another problem, which is like I start liking crossout less and less. Maybe it's because of the tournament I've been playing. Hartford Regional is ultimately just a regional. They're despite I played four mirrors, they're like expected to be having less snake eye variant. So maybe it's time to move crossout to the side, in my opinion. But this situation could just be different if I go to a YCS. But who knows? This format, with release of Legacy Destruction, it definitely released a lot more different new archetype. Tenpai, Melodious, even Voiceless getting a support, right? So there are, I guess, a lot less mirror than last format, or Snake Eye variants, as I say mirror. So crossout, if it's only be able to cross out hand trap, I feel like I can just play into it naturally. And then if crossout isn't able to cross out any engine pieces, function like a solemn judgment in their turn, then suddenly this card doesn't seem like worth playing in the main deck at least. So I've been liking crossout a lot less than before, a lot less than prior to Legacy. And I think I'm probably gonna change some details or maybe change something big at this point. Who knows? But overall, this is like the list that I've been playing that you've probably been seeing, and I achieved seventh place at Hartford. X11 slide in almost, I guess. But this is not really what I want to talk about today. If you pay attention to the third place, it's another Chinese name there. It's my buddy Yao Zhong. He was using Tenpai Dragon. He was the undefeated Tenpai until the final round. Got pared down to, I think, the first place at the end, who was X01, was a draw. And Tenpai is having a relatively bad matchup against Branded. And I think after they grinded, my buddy Anders unfortunately losing in time. He pretty much got to control after outgrinding Branded, but he lost in time, unfortunate. Draco Stapelia making all the Tenpais level 1 just a lot more annoying to play around with. And I, very fortunately, also have his list that I will be talking about today. It is pretty much like, I played this, this Tenpai I also helped building and then editing a little bit. This will be very similar to a Tenpai list I will be playing if I choose to play Tenpai. So, I guess we'll talk about some basics. The 3-3-2 standard Tenpai lineup, nothing special. Skip the non-engine first, and then 3 quick play, 4 fill spell, 3 prosperity, the other portion of the engine, also pretty much enough. Prosperity in TCG is, in my opinion, a lot better than Desires, because we have 3 prosperity, because the deck is able to put out that much damage in like under the half damage limit of prosperity. Also because the list that I told him, I hope modified. I told my buddy, if you want to play hand trap, then just play 3 droplet as the only non-engine hand trap, non-hand trap, non-engine, and then fill the rest with as many hand trap as possible. That will be the route. And in this kind of settings, Desires most likely will only just draw you more hand traps going second that you probably don't need. That's why Prosperity is just becoming the better options of the pot of the deck. the deck, there are enough starters in the deck, like 13 with pots. So I think if you have watched like Christian Urena's profile from his VIP tournament, he running like a lot more pots. I think it's not as necessary to do that. 3 prosperity is enough. And then the non-engine portion. Like I mentioned earlier, I think a good Tenpai lets you either play complete ball breaker, just fill the deck with ball breaker, no non-engine, no hand trap, or you play hand trap, but then you have to fill as many hand traps as possible. Droplet, yes, it's a bit too good to not give up, so I think running Droplet is justified, but every other non-engine slot, if you want to play any one hand trap, just play all the hand traps. And give up on things like Lightning Storm, Triple Attack, Change of Heart, Thrust, other kind of thing. If you're running a hybrid of mix half and half, it's more likely you're just not going to see the right card in the right situation. Like your one hand trap in your 12 to 12 non-engine ratio is not going to be stopping your opponent, and their board is not going to be as much smaller to the point the rest of your non-engines, the rest of the ball breakers, it's still not going to break it. But if you draw like 3 ball breakers, you can pretty much break whatever they have, right? So that's the logic of running all of them. Or if you draw 3, 4 hand traps, you just guarantee stopping whatever they can have. At that point, it's still working. Half is just not the way. And I'll tell you, I definitely learned that in the past in my career the hard way. So yeah. So at the end, my buddy choose 3 Nip, 3 Droll, 3 Vader, 3 Ash, 2 Ogre, 2 Bell, 3 Imperm with 3 Droplet. He is a big 41 fan throughout his career, so his deck has always been 41 in the main. I am definitely not a big fan of it. So I will probably cut this call by and drop it down to 40, and maybe even switching some other hand traps. I think if I am playing hand trap Tenpai, I'll probably just do this. Like, this looks more like what I will be playing if I'm playing Tenpai, a hand trap Tenpai. Just running 3 Nip, 2 Droll, 3 Vader, 2 Ash, 2 Ogre, 2 Mortar, 2 Bell. I mean, yeah. There are a lot of 2-offs, I agree. But in this kind of hand trap strategy where you are expecting to draw a lot, the first thing is you don't want to draw deck copies. And to be honest, Mortar isn't that bad in, like, it helps cover Snake Eye. It's actually better than Vader in specifically against Tenpai. Because Mortar works on like Kaiman during the battle phase. And then Droll is a solid card. Droll, I definitely told my buddy to play Droll, but not too many Drolls. Droll is okay against every deck's half of every deck's opening hand. Some opening hand you just do get Droll. Like as a Snake Guy, you open Bonfire, other thing. You have to Bonfire to start, then you get Droll. But you can be drawing the other, like 50% of the situation where you don't need to Bonfire to start. You just already have the Bonfire targets or the Witch or other thing that at that point Droll just isn't really hitting anything. Similar cases Tenpai, if you already draw your monsters, Droll isn't doing much. But if you draw like a very spell heavy hand, yeah, suddenly the deck is under your Droll. Even voices are the same. If you open like what's the card? Pre-prep and barrier, okay, you are significantly weak to Droll. But if you already open like the pre-prep targets with low and divine or other things, and Droll does nearly nothing, you can still end on big board. So Droll is very a hit or miss card in the format. But it's still playable, and it's still good in at least 50% of the situation. In the other 50% situation, you just like try to pair Droll with other hand trap, like Droll specifically against Snake Eye. You draw them, despite it looking like they not really getting hurt as much, but Droll pretty much shut down whatever their way against Nibiru. Like this Poplar is no longer able to grab Field Spell to recover from Nib, despite it's still able to combo, right? So at that point, Droll and Nib is like a good pair. That Droll can make Nib hurt even more. It's the logic. So that's why I think Droll, despite a lot of people been cutting it, I think this is probably still a good enough hand trap to be played, just not be played a lot. So yeah, this would be a Tenpai list I've been playing, but my buddy used it slightly differently, close enough. He almost won the Hartford Regional. I didn't know why, despite he got paired down as the undefeated against an XO1, lost the match in the final round and got third place, lower than another X1. That, like, no one knows why, but tiebreaker is just weird. And then after the main that, there's the extra deck. Extra deck are relatively similar. We are definitely testing out a bit of different things. Standard 7, 10, 10, nothing changes. Meteor Burst, same thing. Meteor Burst and Black Rose mandatory. The last few slots are flexible ones. Moonlit is there. It didn't happen to. I don't think he summoned it as many times as possible, like at all. But it was just there. Kuibel is a TCG exclusive. That's why you don't see this one in any of the OCG lists. According to him, this one actually did a lot of job as like a small removal, sometimes even for back rows. Because sometimes you don't want to black rose your own thing, or Moonlit only hitting monsters, not back rows. So let me see. So Kumbel has been doing well for him, and then this powder is more synergizing with the shifter in the side deck. He says doesn't matter in mirror or not, just through a shifter, then now this pattern is like unremovable because it just negate will destroy whatever by his choice because the banish pile is gonna be loaded because of shifter. And then standard 5, Link monster was a Typhon. Then that's pretty much the extra deck. Side deck 3 Bestial for matchup that lose to Bestial like Voiceless. Or specifically branded. Shifter nearly everything. There is a bit situation where as a Tenpai player, you won't know whether you will be offering going first or second after siding. So playing things like traps or like Heat Wave obviously is one of them, but Shifter is slightly a better one because now it doesn't matter whether the opponent strategy is letting the Tenpai side going first or second. Shifter always works. So Shifter is like, according to him, one of his best side deck cards in the entire deck. Then Heat Wave, because it's Heat Wave. I don't even own this card. That's also why I didn't play Tenpai for this regional. I'm still missing a bit of things. But he has it, so he piloted it. He did well with it. And the last, just all backward removal in case he queue up into a stun. Pretty much it. That's the whole deck. Tenpai list shouldn't even be that different. Despite I didn't use it, I helped organizing a bit of like the non-engine ratio other thing. So yeah, and you heard me mention that this will be very close to the Tenpai list if I do pilot Tenpai in any tournament. So that being said, it's a lot of different infos this week in today's episode. The next few weeks, I think despite I planned some trips, I was just decided not to buy tickets, getting expensive a little bit. So I think the next few weekends gonna be more remote dual regional focused. Therefore, might not be as much content for me to really show. So maybe we'll see a small break of YouTube, or who knows. If there anything changed, I'll probably make one. If not, just remember, I probably just didn't change anything. It's still using the same list, doing the same thing, and that'd be it. So that's this week's episode. I hope you like it. Remember to like the video, subscribe to the channel. Let me know if you have any comments in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.